Thank you for that presentation. It wasn't clear when you were talking whether you've got one monolithic model or whether you have several models which are each field specific. So you have training sets for the backend, which are different than the training sets that you use to teach the LLM for the Delaware Basin. So can you help us understand how you think about that?
Yeah, I'll do the technical and you'll jump in on the business side of it. I mean, so yeah, we mixed and matched that a little bit. So the large language model that we use is one large language model that we fine tune. But then we have traditional machine learning algorithms that do a lot of the other use cases that we talk about. And these traditional, they are trained on data sets that are either PC data, portfolio company data sets, or basin-specific data sets. And then maybe you want to talk a little bit about QBI.
The mechanics is the same, but the problem that we are solving is the same, but the rock is different to start with. So when we are in the Bakken, we have different geological inputs and the data that we have that in-house and in the Delaware. So we use the same LLM model, AI model, or different machine learning cluster models for identifying the similar production areas within a basin, within an area. But the inputs that we provide, the data that provide, the production forecasting tool is the same, but what the number of wells are different. The hydrocarbon volume is the same, but the numbers are different. So the QBI, Quantum Basin Intelligence, is a great example that has the same AI-based model, but the inputs that we provide in that basin is different. And I think the last thing I will just say is we are training these models. Like as we learn more, as more data comes in, it's not like one time you're done. It's the same thing with the QB Energy AI-based model. We develop an optimization tool, but it's never going to be perfect. So that resilience of kind of going back and integrating data and learning from our mistakes, learning from what we did right, is the next generation how we are getting better. And this has been not overnight. This has been a 5-year of a really, truly investment between our teams to get to this point.
Sebastian, another question. Have you quantified the direct impact of AI tools on investment performance, i.e., how does it impact IRR?
Well, we gave one example in the QCS form and fashion, which, by the way, was mostly automating and was mostly integrating, and it was actually really increased transparency. And we have several use cases where we can quantify this. But I know it's the $2 million question, and everybody always wants to hear this, but it's nearly impossible to really get this entirely correct. And so we do run calculations. Actually, Gary Tanner and I have a lot of passion around validating and quantifying the value that we do. We can talk you through these case study, but unfortunately, I can't spit out one number that kind of summarizes it all. It's much more complex than that.
Maybe on something like MAP, you could say, without AI, we wouldn't have even been able to land that deal. And so maybe it's not an incremental AI-driven IRR accretive metric you should look at, but just the availability of the transaction itself.
And the other thing that I will add, sometimes the value that we create, eliminate the risk to take some of the deals when we say no and we make that decision pretty quick, is a value that we create. It's not always when we capture the deal, and that's why we evaluate 85 deals, but we only capture 8 of them, because we knew when to say no because of the tools. And that, to me, is the value creation, and that's why this question gets very ambiguous, but it's a direct way of how we create value.